Victoria's POV.
I ran as fast as I could, my heart pounding with every frantic step. The sound of their footsteps echoed behind me, but I couldn't stop. My only thought was to escape before they sold me out. As I dashed across the street, I barely looked up in time to see the blinding headlights. The screech of tires rang in my ears as the car swerved, missing me by mere inches. My heart raced, my breath catching in my throat. The back car door burst open, and there he was, the powerful and enigmatic Alpha King of Starlight Pack. His strong, commanding scent filled my nostrils. I felt his piercing gaze on me, studying every inch of me with an intensity that made my skin prickle.
Where is she?
The raspy voices of the men chasing me cut through my frantic breathing, making me rush forward. Without hesitation, I grabbed the hand of the ruthless Alpha. "Please help me. Don't let them take me," I pleaded. When our eyes met, a cold shiver ran through me.
Get in,
He commanded, his voice sharp and firm. I climbed into the car without a second thought, not caring about the consequences. All I wanted was to get away from those bastards. The car door slammed shut, and with it, I felt my fate being sealed. From the corner of my eye, I saw the Alpha King staring at me. His gaze made me feel exposed, so I wrapped my arms around myself.
What's your name?
His voice sent a chill through me, forcing me to glance at him. My name is Victoria," I stammered, my voice cracking.
What do I get in return for helping you?
He asked. His eyes locked onto mine. My heart skipped a beat. What was I thinking? I could only pray the moon goddess hadn't just thrown me from the frying pan into the fire. Has anyone ever heard of the good side of Alpha Dominic Sinclair? Anything, I whispered, my breath coming in short gasps. Anything but being sold to that monster Vincenzo Morano. He grabbed my hand, pulling me closer, and a ragged gasp escaped my lips. His eyes scanned me, as if deciding whether I was good enough for whatever he had in mind.
Well packaged.
He murmured before letting go.
Give me an air, and you'll have my protection for as long as you need.
What? My eyes widened in shock.
You have a minute to decide. Choose between my offer and whatever Vincenzo Morano has planned for you.
My heart leaped to my throat, my jaw dropping. How did he know about Vincenzo Morano? My hands fidgeted as I tried to process everything in under a minute. Vincenzo was pure evil, a drug dealer, a sex addict, rumored to use over 10 women a day. And the Alpha King? I stole a glance at him, my heart skipping a beat. The most handsome man in Starlight Pack. Many wondered how long the moon goddess took to create such perfection. Was it his sculpted face, his sharp jawline, his piercing hazel eyes, or the way he carried himself? He was everything words couldn't define, yet he was also the most feared. The ruthless Alpha King of Starlight Pack.
Victoria Santoro.
His hoarse voice cut through my thoughts, making me tremble. I accept. The words escaped my lips, and just then, the driver pulled over, jolting me forward. I stepped into the house, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. The place felt heavy, like something big was about to happen. The Alpha King stood there, his eyes fixed on me. He had helped me, but now he wanted something in return, an air. A nervous knot tightened in my stomach. This was real. My life was about to change.
Get her ready for tonight.
He ordered the two women standing with their heads bowed. I assumed they were Omegas.
Yes, Alpha King.
They responded.
This way, miss.
What's happening tonight? I asked, turning to him. In a swift, effortless motion, he was out of the house.
This way, miss.
One of the women repeated. The knot in my stomach tightened a million times as they led me down a never-ending hallway. Different thoughts raced through my mind. What was happening tonight? Where were they taking me? What if I had just walked into an abyss?
This way.
The leading woman said, opening a door that led to another corridor. Where exactly are we going? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice.
Here we are,
she said, pushing open a set of grand double doors. I stood frozen in awe. The room before me was beyond anything I had ever seen. Words failed me as I took in the luxury surrounding me. But one thing stood out, the massive portrait of the Alpha King hanging on the wall. My heart skipped a beat as I stared at it. One question lingered in my mind. Why was I in the Alpha King's room? After what felt like an eternity, the large doors swung open, revealing the imposing figure of the Alpha King. I shot to my feet, having spent too long perched on the edge of the bed, trapped in the lacy red lingerie they had given me. I lowered my gaze as he approached, each step calculated and deliberate. I felt his eyes roam over my petite figure as we stood face to face. He lifted my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. A wave of goosebumps spread over my skin.
Sign the papers,
He said, dropping a stack of documents onto the bed. He released me, and I hesitantly picked up one to read. A contract. I glanced at him.
Why?
What's this for? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper.
I assume you can read.
He said,
walking toward the closet.
You have 3 months to conceive.
My stomach twisted painfully as I skimmed through the contents. What the hell? I snapped, making him turn back to me. The contract says I have to sleep with you once or twice to conceive. If I don't get pregnant in 3 months, the agreement will be revoked?
That's correct.
He moved to the bedside table, setting down his wristwatch. What's that supposed to mean? If I don't conceive, you'll just throw me out like garbage? And why do I have to sleep with you to conceive?
Sign the damn papers, Victoria.
His deep voice made me shudder. I cowered under his gaze, momentarily stunned by the way his beautiful hazel eyes flickered to amber. His wolf. I can't, I muttered, a lump forming in my throat. I'm not signing these papers. This is unfair. How can you just discard me after 3 months? Besides, I thought it would be artificial insemination.
You have less than a minute to decide. Leave or lie on the bed and spread your legs as wide as you can.
He said.
I couldn't leave. There was no way I was going to let that maniac, Vincenzo, ruin my life. Blinking back the tears that trickled down my face, I signed the papers and climbed onto the bed. If only my parents were alive, that psycho, my aunt, wouldn't have had the guts to try and sell me off to that animal. The Alpha King climbed onto the bed, and my heart pounded against my ribcage. He scanned my trembling form before meeting my teary eyes. Leaning in, his breath warmed the soft flesh of my neck.
Are you ready, little wolf?
He whispered, sending shivers down my spine. Will you be careful? My voice faltered, my hands fidgeting. This is my first time.
I know.
He muttered, kissing my neck before locking eyes with me again. You know? My tone was laced with surprise.
I know more than you think, little wolf.
His fingers trailed up my thighs, heat rushing through me.
I just need an heir from you. The child will be mine, and you'll be free to leave if you want to.
But His lips crashed against mine, stealing my breath. His kiss was rough and demanding, leaving no room for second thoughts. My fingers trembled as I clutched his shoulders, my body tense and burning with unfamiliar heat. He pulled back slightly, his dark eyes holding mine.
Relax, little wolf.
He said.
His voice husky.
It will hurt at first, but I need you to take it.
I swallowed hard, my heart racing. Will it really hurt? His hand trailed down my stomach, his fingers brushing against my trembling thighs.
A little.
He murmured, slipping his fingers between my legs. A sharp gasp left my lips as his fingers found a sensitive spot, rubbing slow, teasing circles. My body stiffened, warmth flooding through me. I clutched at the sheets, my breath coming in short, uneven pants.
Relax.
He coaxed, slipping a finger inside me. I jolted at the intrusion, my body tensing around him. It feels strange, I whispered, my face burning. His dark gaze stayed locked on mine.
It won't for long.
He moved his finger in and out, slow and patient, before adding another. The stretch made me wince, but the discomfort quickly melted into something else, something that made my toes curl. Heat built in my core, tightening with each slow thrust of his fingers. A soft moan slipped past my lips, my hips moving on their own. He groaned at my reaction, his pace quickening.
That's it.
He muttered, his thumb finding the sensitive nub above. A sharp cry escaped me as pleasure sparked through me, stronger than before. The pressure inside me coiled tighter. My breaths turned ragged, my body trembling. I think. Before I could finish, the knot inside me snapped. My body shook as a wave of pleasure washed over me, stealing my breath. My vision blurred, and I barely registered his deep groan of satisfaction as he felt me clench around his fingers. I was still panting when he pulled his fingers out, his hands gripping my thighs as he positioned himself.
Now.
He murmured, pressing his tip against my entrance.
It's time.
I barely had a moment to recover before he pushed forward. A sharp sting made me cry out, my fingers digging into his arms. It hurts, I whimpered, my body struggling to take him. He stilled, his breath ragged.
Breathe, little wolf.
I forced a shaky breath, my body adjusting to his size. The pain slowly dulled, replaced by something warmer and deeper. When he started moving, slow and careful, the pleasure from before began to creep back in. My fingers clutched at his back. Faster, I whispered, surprising myself. His gaze darkened, and his control snapped. His thrusts turned rougher and deeper, making me gasp.
Mine.
He growled, gripping my hips harder.
Say it.
Yours, I moaned, my body arching as pleasure built once more. His movements grew desperate, pushing me higher and higher. My body tightened, shaking as I reached that edge again.
I got you,
he assured me. When I finally tipped over, a loud cry tore from my lips, my body convulsing around him. A curse escaped him as he drove into me one last time, his grip bruising as he released inside me. His body shuddered, his breath ragged against my ear. For a moment, all I could hear was the sound of our heavy breathing. Then, just as suddenly, he pulled away, leaving me breathless and dazed. He brushed a tear from my cheek, his voice softer now.
It's done.
I swallowed, my chest still rising and falling rapidly. What happens now?
You rest.
He said, standing from the bed.
You'll need your strength.
And then he walked away, leaving me alone with the lingering heat of his touch. I've been in the Alpha King's room for the past month, with 2 women attending to my needs. They don't allow me to go out or do anything other than wake up, freshen up, eat, and sleep. The strangest part is that I haven't seen him since that night. Whenever I asked, no one answered me. I felt alone, my heart skipping at the mere thought of him. Was he okay? Did Vincenzo get to him? But the Alpha King is more powerful. How could they take him? I need answers, Eleanor. I snapped as one of the attendants entered the room. Where the hell is the Alpha King? Why has he been gone for 4 weeks? What did they do to him? And why won't you tell me anything? I demanded, my patience wearing thin.
You need to calm down, Miss Victoria,
she implored, her voice barely above a whisper.
The Alpha King will be back soon.
Don't give me that nonsense. Is this how things work here? Your king goes missing, and you just wait? I demand to see him, right now, I said, my hands clenched at my sides, my gaze burning into her.
I'm here.
The Alpha King entered.
Mate.
Tori, my wolf, groaned in my head, stunning me.
Greetings, my Alpha.
Eleanor greeted, curtsying. With a flip of his hand, he gestured for her to leave, his eyes fixed on mine. As he approached, I stepped back, unwilling to believe what Tori had just said. For the past 2 years, I had remained without a mate, my aunt, mocking me every passing hour. That was why she decided to sell me off. All along, the Alpha King was my mate? Did he know?
Why are you screaming down the house?
He asked, his tone husky.
What do you want?
Something surged through me, and I hit his chest with my balled fists. He didn't even stumble. Is that the right thing to say? I snapped. You left this house for over a month after taking my virginity, and you think that's normal? You locked me in this room all alone.
What do you want?
He repeated nonchalantly.
Tell him, he's our mate.
Tori urged.
Hell no.
He should tell me I'm his mate, I retorted. I want to leave, I told him. He arched an eyebrow, probably surprised by my words. I don't need your protection anymore, so tell them to let me out.
The door is open.
he said, moving over to the bed. Bloody bastard. I cursed under my breath. Is that all you have to say? Where have you been for the past few weeks? I demanded, following him.
You have no right. Victoria Santoro.
He groaned, pinning me with his piercing gaze.
This is a contract. No one gave you the right to speak to me like that.
He scolded. Tears rolled down my cheeks, and I quickly wiped them away.
Fine.
I muttered, turning to the door. Vincenzo was better. I added and walked out, hoping he would stop me. But the son of a gun didn't. The moment I stumbled onto the street, outside the pack's security, a car screeched to a stop in front of me, halting me abruptly. Two massive, masked men rushed out, seizing me by the arms and clamping a palm over my mouth before I could scream. I kicked wildly, but they overpowered me, shoving me into a black Jeep before speeding off. I remained blindfolded and gagged for what felt like an endless ride. Finally, the car came to a sudden halt, and I was yanked out, flipped over a shoulder. I could hear the marching of boots, yet I saw no one. Struggling, I fought against them as they tossed me onto a chair, clasping my wrists in handcuffs and tying my legs to the chair's legs. They ripped off the gag and unveiled the blindfold. You bloody sons of bitches. Let me out of here. I screamed.
Not so fast, Vixen.
Vincenzo Morano's annoying and intimidating voice cut through the tension as he entered the room, a sinister grin stretching across his face.
You're still just as I remember.
He crouched in front of me, trailing a finger down my temple.
I told you I'd find you no matter where you ran. Your aunt sends her regards.
Fuck you. Untie me right now. He glanced back at his men, and they all laughed hysterically like the maniacs they were.
You've grown some wings.
He sneered, grabbing my hair and yanking my head toward him.
I hope you kept my property intact.
I don't owe you anything. I spat boldly. He yanked me forward by the waist, making my breath hitch. Roughly, his hand forced its way between my thighs and 3 fingers plunged into my core. A sharp cry escaped my lips as blood rushed to the spot. Let go of me. My body trembled from the brutal impact. His burning green eyes froze me in place.
You're loose.
He groaned, pulling his fingers out.
Who dared to lay a hand on you?
I owe you no explanation. I spat in his face. A hot, metal-like hand whipped across my cheek, jerking my head to the side. A sharp cry escaped me as my cheek burned, and he sprang up.
Make her talk.
He ordered his men before storming out. They approached, cracking their knuckles, their evil gazes locked onto mine. Don't you dare touch me, I warned, my breath uneven. Come untie me, Vincenzo. Another bone-snapping slap landed on my burning cheek, followed by a gut-wrenching punch to my stomach. A sharp pain ripped through me, my body shaking as I struggled to endure it. Blood pooled beneath me, my breathing ragged. A loud, deafening wail tore from my throat as I realized I had just lost my baby. The next blow struck my skull, and darkness swallowed me. My baby, I wailed, jerking upright in bed, sweat dripping down my face.
You're awake.
The unmistakable voice of the Alpha King sounded from across the room. He approached, sitting on the bed's edge.
How do you feel now?
What the hell am I doing here? I demanded, my chest heaving, tears filling my eyes. Who brought me here?
I did.
He replied.
You were beaten beyond recognition.
I never asked for your help. You were the one who put me out there. You promised to protect me, but you failed, I snapped. You broke the contract, so it's over. I tried to get out of bed, but a numbing pain settled in my abdomen.
The doctor said you need to rest.
He said nonchalantly. I shot him a glare. I don't bloody care what your doctor said. My hand clutched my aching belly. You ripped away my innocence with fake promises. You made me lose my baby because you failed to protect us as you swore you would. I hate you, Alpha King Dominic Sinclair. I scrambled out of bed, but he grabbed my arm and spun me around. A pained gasp escaped me.
Next time, don't walk out on me.
He warned, his voice low and menacing.
Your carelessness made me lose my child. From now on, you'll stay in this room. If I ever see you outside, you'll have yourself to blame.
He shoved me onto the bed, Another sharp pain searing through my abdomen as I writhed in agony. He stormed out. "You're evil. I hate you." I sobbed, clutching the bedclothes as the pain intensified. My vision blurred, and within moments, I slipped into unconsciousness.
Little wolf.
The voice was a faint whisper, pulling me from the depths of sleep. A fearful wail tore from my throat as I cowered back in bed. The Alpha King sat before me, putting down a tray. My stomach churned as I realized what was on it, the severed head of Vincenzo Morano. Blood still dripped from the large wound on his forehead, his lifeless eyes staring at me.
I thought it wise to bring you a present.
Dominic said, placing the tray on the bed.
You walked out on your 20th birthday, so I didn't get the chance to give you a gift.
"You're heartless," I gasped.
I know.
He smirked.
A life for a life. No one dares take what's mine and gets away with it. By the way, are you ready for tonight?
"Get this thing out of my sight," I screamed, tears streaming down my face. "You're despicable and evil. I cursed the day I met you."
Don't curse, little wolf.
He said.
Taking the tray, one of his soldiers entered, collecting it before leaving.
We have one more night. If you fail to give me an heir, you'll be back on the streets.
He murmured, moving closer and leaning in to sniff my damp hair. "How did I end up with you?" I sobbed. "You're my mate."
I know.
He muttered.
"You know?" I met his gaze, my voice shaking. "And you still hurt me? Don't you want me? Am I too ugly or too low for your liking?"
Become my obedient little wolf, and maybe I'll let you stay beyond the contract's duration.
I, Victoria Santoro of Starlight Pack, reject you, Alpha? Before I could finish, his lips crashed against mine. The kiss was intense, desperate, and commanding. When he pulled away, I was breathless.
Never try to reject me. I own you.
He declared, grabbing my hair and brushing strands away from my neck. "Let me go." I struggled to break free. His gaze locked onto mine, his fangs elongating. "Don't do that. I'll hate you forever." Before I could finish, his fangs sank into my neck. A sharp pain erupted, spreading through my body. I thrashed, but he pinned me in place, running his tongue over the wound, sealing the mark.
I own you, little wolf.
He whispered against my ear. My body weakened, my resolve crumbling as sleep pulled me under. 3 months had passed. I had been confined to this room, and Dominic had made love to me more than 10 times already. He treated me like his personal plaything, ignoring my emotions even after marking me. But at least he didn't keep mistresses. I suppose that was a small mercy.
Hey, little wolf.
He said.
Approaching me from behind, I was seated at the vanity, staring at my reflection and how much I had changed. He leaned in, pressing a kiss to the crook of my neck. A shiver ran down my spine. I hated myself for always reacting to his touch.
Are you ready for your little present?
He asked, massaging my shoulders. I'm not interested. I mumbled, my expression blank. The door swung open, and 2 soldiers dragged my aunt inside. Her agonized cries filled the room as they threw her to the floor. She was bruised all over, blood seeping from her cuts. Her hair was damp, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. Bloody hell. I jerked up, dashing toward her. What have you done to her? I cried, holding her head in my lap. She's my aunt. How dare you torture her like this? Aunt, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Vicky.
She rasped, coughing up blood.
Please forgive me.
I hold no grudges, Aunt. Just stay with me. I sobbed. Call the damn pack doctor now.
The Alpha is cursed. He killed your parents and took you in, because only someone from your bloodline can break the curse after giving him an heir.
She gasped, her voice trembling. My heart dropped into my stomach as I glanced at the Alpha.
Be careful.
My aunt groaned, her body jerking violently before she gave up the ghost.
Aunt.
I wailed, shaking her to wake up.
Don't leave me.
Aunt, you're my only family. Please call the doctor, Alpha. I'm begging you. I cradled her lifeless body against my chest, sobbing uncontrollably.
Take her away.
The Alpha commanded. Soldiers grabbed my aunt, pulling her from my arms. Leave her alone, please. Tell them not to touch her. I flitted to the Alpha, clutching his hand. Please, save my aunt. I don't want to lose her. He pulled me into his arms.
You'll be fine.
He assured me, kissing my hair. Minutes later, we sat on the bed, my body leaned back against the headboard while he watched me intently. You killed my parents, I whispered, sniffling. What did they ever do to you? Why did you take them from me?
It was an accident.
He said.
I didn't mean to kill them.
But you bloody did. I threw a pillow at his face. He didn't try to dodge. You made me an orphan, yet you treat me like trash. What was my crime? What did I ever do to you?
Like I said, it was an accident. I was cursed by an old witch for killing her only grandson during my first transformation. He was my closest friend. He was with me when I shifted and I lost control, killing him.
He began.
Though I was the Alpha's son, I was punished, locked in the dungeon for a year. Your dad was part of the pack soldiers and your mother was the cook. The curse made me kill her when she came to serve me in the dungeon, and when your father tried to protect her, I killed him too. I escaped the dungeon, only to return 15 years later and find my father on his sickbed. That's how I became the Alpha King. But the curse can only be broken if I have an heir from the Santoro bloodline. You're my only hope, little wolf.
He touched my hand.
I can't control myself. Hurting people gives me the satisfaction I need.
Let go of me. I yanked my hand away. It's obvious the moon goddess won't save you from this curse, because I'll never give you an heir. I'd rather die. I scrambled out of bed, but he grabbed my hand, pulling me onto his lap. His arms wrapped around me, his warmth enclosing me.
Don't say that.
He whispered.
You love me. You can't abandon me now. I'm your mate.
Let me go, Dominic. I fought to wriggle free, but he held tight.
I can't do that. I need you in my life, little wolf. I love you.
He locked eyes with me before kissing my arm. How much I longed to hear him say that. More tears rolled down my cheeks, my emotions overwhelming me.
Save me from my demon. I'll forever cherish you.
I don't want to. Leave me alone.
You have to, please. I can't keep hurting people, including you. If you don't save me, how am I supposed to love you the way I want?
You had this all figured out. Our first meeting wasn't a coincidence, was it? I asked.
No, it wasn't.
He admitted.
Vincenzo was working for me, but he betrayed me by wanting you for himself. I didn't know you were pregnant then. I wouldn't have let you out of my sight. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And let's try again.
My breath caught in my throat, ball rising as my stomach twisted. Wait, I muttered, unease settling inside me. I rushed to the bathroom, puking my guts out. The Alpha was right behind me, his hand moving up and down my back, soothing me.
Are you okay?
He asked as I poured water on my face. What do you care? I groaned, pushing past him. I climbed onto the bed, curling up. My body was growing weak. I didn't know why.
You're sick, little wolf.
He murmured, brushing my hair back as he leaned over me.
I'll summon the pack doctor now.
He said, sitting beside me. The visit from the pack doctor did nothing to lift my mood. I was pregnant again, expecting a pup for the man who killed my parents and my aunt. I think the moon goddess cursed me, not him. Tears flowed freely as I tried to contain my pain. The Alpha lay beside me, tucking my hair behind my ear, his breath mingling with mine.
Stop crying, little wolf. I promise to take care of you. I won't give you a reason to leave anymore.
I met his gaze, and an inexplicable feeling settled inside me. He looked so innocent now, as if his world revolved around me. Maybe if he wasn't cursed, none of this would have happened. Anyone could lose control during their first transformation. As the Alpha King's son, his wolf must have been more dominant, causing him to attack his friend. The moon goddess knows why she paired us together. He's my mate. How can I abandon him? I propped myself on an elbow, rubbing my hand over his neck, the spot I wanted to bite.
What are you doing?
He asked. Without a word, I leaned in, my fangs extending, and sank them into his skin. His blood rushed into my mouth before I sealed the mark with my tongue. I pulled away, looking into his dazed eyes. I've claimed you. We're in this together, I said. He touched the spot, a smile creeping onto his face. It was the first time I had seen him smile, so genuinely.
I love you to the moon and back.
He murmured, capturing my lips in his. When he pulled away, I moved closer, resting my head on his arm and sliding my hand across his chest. I love you, I whispered. And I'll always be here for you, I assured him. He kissed my hair, holding me close.
The end. If you enjoyed this story, kindly like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting werewolf romance stories. Lots of love.